Hello and welcome to the Go Green Home Show. I'm Richard Mullen, your host for the show today. We have a special guest right here from Beverly. He's Jonathan Davis, the president of Smart Home Solutions.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, hi, great, thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it.
And Jonathan's been doing something recently in the last couple of years, actually delivering smart homes, creating smart homes with an environment. Can you, what do Smart Home Solutions do?
Let's start there. Smart Home Solutions, we're a home automation company, if you will, but we're a full-service home automation company. What that means is if consumers are interested in smart technology, they call us, we come in, we do an assessment with them, we professionally install the devices, and then we educate them. So we take that extra step to educate them and teach them how to use the devices so that they realize the full benefits that they've been seeing in the marketing.
So it's inclusive, and I think the assessment seemed important because if somebody can come in and at least they can see maybe they are eligible for that, or they would be a home that, are there ever homes that don't work with this type of thing?
One of the things about the assessment that's so important is every space is unique, whether it's a home or a business, and it has unique needs, layouts. The assessment, part of that is a technician looking at your space and realizing what you can use and what you can't. Not all products will work in every home. So that's an important piece. You don't want to buy something off the shelf and find out that you can't use it.
How do you get started in this business?
Well, as you know, Richard, your viewers may not, I'm a state licensed realtor. I'm affiliated with Caldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. And about 3 years ago, I was selling homes that technology was starting to be a factor. I was seeing thermostats, cameras, things like that in the homes I was selling. Quickly looked around, couldn't find anybody other than a basic installation help. So the piece that was missing, what I recognized, was that full service, assess the situation, buy the proper devices, give good advice, install the devices, and then educate the consumer. That's really the piece that was missing. So that's why I started Smart Home Solutions.
Now, when you started, did you have any background in this, or did you have kind of an avocation or a vocation towards this?
I spent many years in technology, working for printing companies in the financial services world. So technology for me is easy. It comes easy. I've grown up with it. So figuring out the devices is comfortable for me.
So you're someone like I would need, because it's uncomfortable for me.
Right.
I think I'm at that place in the learning curve where it takes me a long time to learn anything new technically.
Right, and that's a piece that we provide that a lot of people need, so it's important.
So you're going in there. So you started that. Now, when you do your work, are you just in Beverly, or do you go further than Beverly? Or?
Okay, we're all over the North Shore, a fully regional company. We have customers down in Somerville, we have customers up in Salisbury, out in Woburn, all the way to Rockport, and pretty much everywhere in between.
Okay.
What I always encourage people is call us. Chances are we're going to be able to help you. If you're interested in the specific cities and towns, you can see that on the website. It's techswhoconnect.com, and I believe that's going to be shown on the screen while we're talking as well. So take a look at the website, and you'll see where we cover.
Well, let's maybe start kind of in the basics, because that's what I need, the basics. What is a smart device? I mean, when we talk about devices, what makes it smart?
The definition is kind of a mouthful. It's basically an electronic device that connects wirelessly using either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi protocols to a network or other devices, and it does something. So that does something is what people will start to realize what they're looking at. I have a camera. If you want to take a look at a specific device, we can take a look at that. This is the Nest indoor camera, and I'll leave that there so that maybe we can get a good shot of that. It's very, very simple design. Looks good on a bookshelf. Looks good on a bureau. It's going to plug in to a regular 120 volt outlet. So you see there's a plug here and a cord that goes from the device into the wall, and it's constantly on. So that's a camera that's going to provide you HD quality video, and it's also got an audio component so you can hear what's going on with the image as well.
So this camera has both audio and?
Correct.
So you can pick up anything that's going on in your home. I imagine that's the security side of it, because you get to watch your home if you want.
Right. What you need to remember about these devices is you're gaining peace of mind, is what I tell people. You have the opportunity, no matter where you are in the world, as long as you can connect to the internet, you can look in and check on how things are going with your home or your business from anywhere.
Wow. So let's see now. We have this camera. So this is pretty much almost like that plugs into the computer, I imagine?
It actually just plugs right into the wall, and then you're seeing a live image. I can
Oh, so you can pick up Wi-Fi and
correct. It connects
and
to your
Bluetooth.
Yep.
It
Connects
doesn't
to your
matter
router.
which one.
Correct.
So you would assign that and align that up, right?
Yeah,
Is that
that's part of the
correct?
configuration that we go through with all the devices. That's comprehensive in our installation services.
Okay. So and these are the cameras you could put any place. You could put 2 or 3 in a home, I imagine.
Correct. And there's outdoor versions. It's not just Nest. There's other companies that make them. They have specific uses. That's why I say unique space matters. Not every camera is going to be a fit in your space, but it might be a fit in someone else's space.
The one I like is the one you see a lot on, I think on the internet, is people watching people come into their homes up to their driveways and through their things, and they have a way they can respond to them.
Yes. The one that you're seeing a lot is probably the doorbell camera. So you basically replace your doorbell. Somebody rings your doorbell, you get a message on your phone, and you have the ability to pull up an image of that. And if you want to, most of them have audio capabilities. You can talk with that person as well. So you can be sitting on the couch and lazy and just not want to get up, or you could be on the beach in the Caribbean and still see who's at your front door.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, this is becoming. I imagine when people now are building new homes, are they going to incorporate this technology in the homes, or do you find they're not ready for that yet? Like that's not part of the package when they build a new home.
I think it's still in its infancy from a new home perspective. People are putting in thermostats in new homes, but the cameras, it's more retrofitting right now. So it's more homes that are built, people that want that peace of mind, introducing the technology. And the point we've gotten to with the technology is everything's wireless now. So I'm not coming to your house and opening up walls, running wires throughout your house.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point, because I think of the old cable installations, how they had to run with, it was a nightmare.
Right. Yeah, the world has changed now. All of these devices connect wirelessly. So while you're plugging the Nest camera into the wall, you're generally not adding an outlet to do that. You're using an existing outlet. So you don't need an electrician to come in. You don't need to worry about getting permits. You're not really doing anything with electricity other than consuming it through the devices.
So now you told me also at your home, you've pretty well established a pretty good network of.
The smart home bug bit me, is what I
Okay.
would say. I've got plenty of devices going at home. I can actually show a couple to you if you'd like to see
Oh,
that.
that'd be really cool. Is it complicated to show them, or is it?
No, as I mentioned, these devices, they're all smart, they're all wireless. Most of them have their own apps, which integration can be a challenge, but that's why someone like me can help you.
Okay.
I'm going to try and connect to the Nest service right now, and as technology is.
So now what is you're using?
This is my iPad, so this is a tablet.
Okay.
And sure enough, we'll have to come back to that because it's not connecting. So this is just a regular iPad. It's got apps on it just like my phone does. My phone has all the apps on it as well. And I can control the devices from here in the studio as long as the app loads. So we'll go back to that in a second.
Sure.
So on the way in, Walt mentioned his thermostat. So let me talk about thermostats.
That seems to be an important part because you can actually save. That's a valuable.
Correct.
Item.
Correct. There's money savings behind it. So I get the question a lot about the thermostats because people that start getting into smart home automation, they generally will start with a thermostat because there's money savings behind it. Now, your manufacturers out there are going to tell you that you're going to save between 20 and 25% on your annual energy savings. It could be a big number for people because that's electricity and your fuel costs, being oil or gas.
Sure,
depending.
that's a pretty good number. Yeah.
It's a pretty good number. I like to temper that with people, and I set the expectation to be more 10 to 15%. And the reason I do that is because I think I mentioned before, you can put a smart thermostat in, but if you're not using the features and functions properly, you're not going to see the increased energy benefits. Let me give you an example, and this did come back, so we'll be able to show something to you. The Nest thermostat, which is widely known, I mean, it's the best marketed one for sure. There's 2 modes in the operation of that device. It's either home or away. So when it's home, think of a programmable thermostat. It functions the same way. It's going to run your HVAC equipment according to the schedule that it has in the software. So if you want it 68 at 8 o'clock in the morning and 64 at 10 o'clock at night, it's going to do that for you in home mode. Now, the other mode is what they call away mode. And I'll give you the example in my house. I use away mode all the time. When I leave the house, I tell my thermostat I'm away. The reason I do that is I have settings. I have 60 degrees as a low point, 80 degrees as a high point. When it's in away mode, the thermostat will operate the HVAC equipment as it needs to as soon as it falls outside that range. So if it hits 59, the heat comes on. If it hits 81, the AC comes on. And I can honestly tell you, my house generally doesn't get to 60 or 80 on its own, even with nothing running, because of the insulation and the energy features.
Just the ambient, yeah.
Exactly. So I can pretty much guarantee when I'm in away mode, my HVAC equipment's not going to run. So that means if I'm away for the day on a Saturday, I'm not burning any energy running my HVAC equipment, and I'm not burning any, in my case, oil. So that's where I'm going to start to see that 10 to 15% number inch up into the 20 to 25% range by using the equipment smartly and the way it was designed. So that's that education piece that's also a big component of what we do.
In those, with that thermostat, has there been any technology all coming out that can maintain your relative humidity?
There is a humidity sensor in it. And paired with the correct equipment, if you've got a humidifier that's part of your setup, the Nest will help you with that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of, in my business, in mold inspection, and I find that to be, people get too much humidity, and the next thing they have is they have indoor air quality problems. But so those things could be addressed.
Yes, as the technology gets better and the HVAC equipment is set up properly, you're definitely going to see people take advantage of that.
Okay, great.
Now, we've got the app up. I believe we're looking at my garage right now. So this is my garage door, and you'll see that the garage is closed. Hopefully it's not seen as too messy.
Looks pretty good, actually.
And we're here in the studio, miles away from the house, and with 2 quick taps on my iPhone, you see, and possibly hear as well, that garage door is opening.
Okay. I mean, you live in Beverly, though, right?
I live in Beverly, but this is...
If you lived in Maine, what would happen?
The garage door would still be opening. I controlled it from this device.
So the same thing as a cell phone or a smartphone. You can actually communicate as far as your phone goes, right?
Correct, as long as you're connected to the internet. And your devices at home are connected to the internet. If the power goes out, I can't help you. Because obviously your network's not running.
Power goes out, okay. So that's good to know.
I'm going to close this before I do. There's going to be a safety feature on this. It's going to audible beeping, and the light's going to flash, and that's a safety feature so that anybody in the vicinity knows that the garage door is about to do something.
That's part of your garage door, right? Is that part of this system or the garage door system?
It's built into this system. Okay. I actually have a box in my garage that's running this and controlling the garage door.
All right. This is fun, actually.
It's fun to see the devices in action.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about them, but it's also really fun to see this stuff working. This summer I went away, and as you do, you go away on the weekend. You don't think about Wednesday's your trash day. But my neighbor thought about it on Wednesday, and he texted me. I said, sure, let me open the garage and you can put my trash out for me. So,
well, that's cool if you get him every Wednesday to do it for you.
If I could get him every Wednesday, that would be perfect.
Yeah, maybe you'll see the show and you'll get the idea.
So the other thing I have set up that's, again, kind of a safety feature, if you will, I have some lighting controls at my house.
Okay.
And they function, much like anything that's programmable. I can set a schedule for the lights to be on or off at certain times of the day, certain days of the week. But I can also turn the light on in my front hall from my smartphone, which I've just done. So now I have the light on. I can turn that off.
Oh, yeah.
See, it goes off.
So this is in real time right now that we're watching.
There's maybe a second delay.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's the video image of my front hall. Hopefully nobody walks by. And I'm controlling that light. Think of the security feature there, because I can have a programmed schedule, but if somebody's watching the house, they're going to learn that schedule, right?
Right.
So this gives me the ability at any time to come in and say, okay, maybe the light's on, but I can turn it off, or I can turn it on for 5 minutes if I wanted to just kind of throw that appearance that somebody's home, and change up that kind of a schedule. So you've got that security feature as well.
Now with this technology, like to get it hooked up so your electric lights are going on, is that requiring certain types of switches, or that you have to change the components of the electrical system?
Some of the systems, yes. Some of the systems, no. There's plug-in outlets that'll just plug in, just like the Nest camera, into an existing outlet. You plug a lamp into that, you can control that from your phone. So that little outlet plug is connected to your wireless network that you can then connect to through your phone.
So now, if you go to a home, and you're going to install a system, which that's what you do, like you'd do a whole system or as much as people want it or need it, right?
It's really as much as people want or need.
Now, do you need to get a permit to do that? Is this permitted work where you have to go to the city?
No. All the devices that we're talking about today, you don't need permits for. If you were to add an outlet, let's say, to plug in the camera in a certain location, you're going to want an electrician to do that.
Sure.
And that electrician's going to know, depending on the city or town that you're in, what the permit requirements are.
Right.
But generally speaking, these devices, you don't need permits to do it. You just need somebody that knows what they're doing.
Wow. And so now, like if you have a garage, what else in your house do you use this technology for? Is there anything else you have?
I have a
Can
lot.
you turn the oven on?
I can't turn the oven on. The capability does exist, but not
It
in my
does?
house.
Really?
Yes, the smart devices in the kitchen. That's kind of the new frontier for smart devices is kitchens and bathrooms. That's going to be the next big thing. In terms of what I've got in my house, I've got a lock on my front door that I can connect through my phone. So if I'm not using a car in the garage, I can leave through the front door. But just by unlocking it with my phone, I can lock it as I'm walking away instead of turning around and using
So you're
a key.
locked in as a non-key lock. It's an electronic device?
The particular one I have, my wife can still use her key on the outside. There's still the keyhole. The back inside of it is a device that turns the deadbolt, either locks it or unlocks it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It is.
And I mean, I see that technology being really valuable, and people, like, especially going to your house trying to find your keys.
Right.
And you know, you're losing them, it's dark out, and you can put the lights on and open your door and...
Right. The last person I put a door lock on for said they wanted it for the housekeeper, to be honest, because they can invite the housekeeper and give that person access from, let's say, 8 to 10 on Monday. And that's the only time that housekeeper can lock and unlock that door. That way you don't have to give out a garage code or an extra key. So that was the purpose behind why they wanted it.
So how would that work? I mean, in other words, the housekeeper comes up, they have a key, they can open the door, but if they weren't within that time frame?
Right.
The electronics would
you
change?
wouldn't give them a key. You send them an invitation to their cell phone, basically.
Okay.
They pull up the app, and on Monday, between the hours of 8 and 10 a.m., they can walk up to your door, push a button, and unlock it. But if they do it at 11, it's not going to work.
Nothing's going to happen.
Correct.
And so, I mean, is it any button, or do they have to line up with the app on their cell phone?
They put the app on their phone,
Okay.
which most people are comfortable with, even if it's just
Sure.
for one use. But they just pull up the app on their phone as they're walking to the door. The Bluetooth technology will connect to the lock itself. They'll tap their phone, and the mechanism will unlock and allow them access.
Well, I'd be glad to see that, because, I mean, the key technology seems antiquated anyhow. I mean,
Right, and there's options. There's
Yeah.
keypads. You don't have to still have a key to unlock the door. You can have a keypad. You can pair the door locks with a doorbell camera. So you can have the image on your phone of your neighbor arriving to feed your pet while you're on vacation. They can push the doorknob. You can get the image, you know it's them, and you can push another button and the door will unlock.
now, am I correct? I think I either imagined this or heard this somewhere, but do they have automatic pet feeding stations that are tied into this? Have you seen those?
I actually saw one for a water bowl recently. I
and
don't know if there's an app that you could get alerted when maybe the water ran out or something like that, but
I saw, I mean, and I only saw it quickly, but it was so the dog wouldn't overeat. You could actually feed the dog while you're away.
it's like the fish feeding systems.
Yeah, it would drop out.
Right.
And-
Yeah, the technology's there in so many aspects of our life, and I think people are just kind of opening their eyes to the possibilities and really taking advantage of these devices.
Yeah. What do you see kind of as your experience? What do you see as, you know, the near future, for example? What will things, I mean, are you doing any research on that? Like the next thing, the next big thing that's going to be in this field?
Yeah, the next big thing and the biggest challenge that the manufacturers have is the integration piece. So there's companies out there like Nest that have it figured out, and they've got 13 devices that all talk to each other. But there's a lot of companies that they're really good at one device, but they're not really good at all the devices.
So integrating becomes
So
a
the
problem?
integration is really kind of the next frontier for those manufacturers in getting their devices to talk to other devices. Because as I mentioned with your unique space, you might have devices from 5 different manufacturers in your house.
That would be a problem.
And quite honestly, people don't want to have to go toggle through 5 different applications
Right.
to find and change the status of certain things. So that's kind of the next hurdle that the industry needs to get over.
So there's some kind of uniformity in everything that comes out, so you can,
Correct.
one
It's-
app would handle it, ideally.
Yeah, we hear it all the time. Works with Alexa is an example of that. So
Right.
it's putting maybe that smart hub, if you will, in your home that can talk to all those disparate devices, and you can talk to that artificial intelligence and
Well,
control.
so Alexa would handle all the integration, and, yeah, see, something like that I could deal with. Like if I could get a device that would do it all for me, but then I would do it. Because I think that would be my setback. There's so much complication to it. Once it gets complicated, like I could go online, spend all night trying to figure it out, and I can't do it.
Right.
But that's where you come in, right?
That's where I come in. Alexa can tell me if my front door is unlocked or locked. It can change the temperature on my thermostats. It can turn my lights that I have connected on and off. So that's that integration piece, and it's hard for the average consumer to understand and get educated on all that. That's kind of where we come in, is helping people understand how that stuff pairs
And that's
up.
what you talked about earlier, that feasibility assessment.
Correct. Think of it as a conversation with a technician. Somebody will
Right.
come on site where the devices are going to be installed. We're going to talk to you about the different options you have and make sure that your goals are being met. If you've got a budget, we're going to help you stick to your budget, and that you understand the technology that you're bringing into your house.
And I would imagine it just seems logical that you'd be able to tie in, the ads that were on for a long time, I've fallen and I can't get up. The specialized buttons.
Correct. There's companies out there that are exploring that, because that's a very tangible use that
Sure.
would appeal to a lot of people. Is, hey Alexa, I've fallen, call the police. That's a real thing that we have in our environment today that people can take advantage of.
So you think Alexa is that would be, so your end of it wouldn't be to do that? Because what I think about, I think of people I know, and they have parents who have right now maybe a challenge with dementia or something like that, and they can still live at home. But I know people that are just always caught, I want to be able to check on my mother, I want to check on my father. With cameras, this is actually a really interesting process. Have you done many in the elderly end of it? Have you found any?
We're starting to get more calls. I think that the peace of mind, which I mentioned before, you just took a different spin on it, which I like, which is it allows you not only to check on your own space, but check on maybe an elderly parent or somebody that lives out of state.
Wow.
With a camera, with the communication devices we've got now, that's a reality. People can take advantage of that. And we are seeing a lot more calls for indoor cameras for that reason. Not necessarily to watch and see if a pet's chewing the shoes, but to look in on an elderly parent without having to physically be there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the big, because I know, people don't want to feel as though, like a lot of elderly people don't want to feel as though they're being taken care of.
Right.
But yet there is that need. They reach a certain point, and I can think of several people that probably would come into that category. And this would be a great device. When I think of it, if you can just take a couple of cameras and be able to watch a parent, elderly parent with, just kind of moving into the dementia or Alzheimer's area.
Right.
Wow,
that's a perfect application for
that
smart
is-
technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the same with children. Watching children, is
Right. I joke with, my kids are still a little young for this, but I joke with them that I'm going to have a camera on the front door, and I'm going to see when they come home from school and see who comes in the door with them.
yeah, and Alexa can check their homework and everything.
Right. That's a little beyond what we want, I think. But,
Yeah, no, this is really this is some cool stuff. There's now, what about some of we talked about some of the devices. So the keys are, number one, the camera's pretty simple.
Right.
That's not a complicated thing to hook up.
Nope.
the Nest thermostat or any.
Right. The device I've got here is the Nest Protect. So this is, you know, let's bring it back to the definition of what a smart device is. This is a smoke and CO detector that you're going to put on the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
It's going to
Wow,
work
I didn't
just
know
like the
that.
one you have today. It's going to give you an audible alert if dangerous levels are sensed. The smart piece of this device now is the fact that it's going to be going off at home, but it's also going to alert me on my cell phone. So if my smoke alarm goes off right now, I'm going to get an alert on my phone, and I'm going to know there's an issue. So thinking back to the definition, these devices are electronic. We have a lot of these electronic devices in our home. The smart piece is that it can give you the update on your phone.
So did you say this can detect carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide?
It's a dual detector, correct. And you're going to get a different alert based on what it is. But the key is you're getting the alert on your phone, so you know you have a problem, even if you're not home.
So you could put one in your basement and in your, you know, use it, because that's one of the things, especially if people have gas. You know, they really want to be aware of the potential of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Correct.
And that's where a lot of people get sick. And I mean, if you don't get, you can get really sick from carbon monoxide. I mean,
Absolutely, it's very
yeah.
dangerous. So that's
You got an interesting field. You know, the more I was just thinking, how he puts stuff in. You know,
No,
this is really
it's connecting that world around you and starting to realize the convenience of these devices.
Wow. So let's say some of our viewers, they're interested, and they see this, and simply all they have to do is call you, and you're willing to come out and give them an assessment.
Correct.
And look at a number of these things. I mean,
And we would talk through all the options with somebody. Somebody might only be interested in the thermostat. If they've got questions about other devices, we can answer those questions for them. It's
Okay.
really about what you need, what's going to work in your space. But absolutely, call us, let's have a conversation, and get you up to speed on the latest technology.
Okay. And I mean, and still there are homes that you'd probably go in and say, well, this wouldn't, I don't know maybe there's not a home that, I've been in homes that are really complicated the way they're built, or they have too many things in it, and you're trying to think of how you can get smart technology in there.
Right, but the industry is so broad. We're not cookie cutter. We're not coming in with a fixed plan of what we want to install in your house. It's more, your house is going to have the ability to have smart devices in it. It might not be able to have a Nest thermostat, let's say.
Okay.
It might need to be a different type of thermostat, but you're going to be able to take advantage of the technology because it's all wireless now. That's really the key.
Wow,
no
that's
no
really
space
cool.
is impossible. It's just how much of a challenge it potentially could be.
Wow. I mean, as I look at this, I see more and more on the horizon as the potential for this, and I think you did the right thing. You got into a good field. But I think the thing you said that sets you aside is you understand the technology. Because I don't know how many times, I know when we first introduced cable, the people putting cable in didn't know what they were doing. They were just putting wires in and hooking them up and hoped it worked.
Right.
But at least you know, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I know that we could talk more about this, and I love the picture of being able to get to your house and everything like that. That's really cool. And like everybody, every time we talk about technology, I mean, we could go on forever. But so if somebody want to get in touch with you, I think they can maybe put up at least your email or something like that, or your phone, or do you?
Yeah, the website is techshoconnect.com, TECHS, WHO connect.com.
Okay. All right, good. And yeah, and I think, I don't know if there's a phone number up there, but at least you can do that. Text Who Connect.
Yes.
Okay. And hey, look, thanks for coming in, and I learned something.
Richard,
Thanks a lot,
I
John.
appreciate it. Thanks for the
Bye-bye.
opportunity.
Okay, good. That was pretty cool. Well, okay, folks, that's it. I really want to thank Jonathan for coming in and telling us a little bit about the coming technology and the things that we can do right now and the things that we're going to expect in the future. And very happy for you to be here today, and I'm glad that you were able to tune in to Go Green Home Show. I'm Richard Mullen.